WWE has for ages had this habit of trying to one-up its stakeholders and make it seem like the company can do no wrong, but be it the board, its employees, critics, competitors or fans, however this very habit of Vince McMahon and his corporation have egg on its face many times over the year. The most egregious of these repeated faults must be when the organisation tries to take its fans for a ride, but in many cases fails. In fact, Vince has often been accused of thinking he knows better than the fans and trying to control what they want. This has led to instances where the company has tried to control its fans and failed spectacularly. Starting off with number 10, Emmalina, a moment in history that lives on in infamy. The so-called debut of Emmalina was massively hyped up with weekly vignettes. The Aussie, who missed TV because of an injury and subsequent surgery, was set to appear in a new way, focusing on glamour and physical looks. However, while the vignettes did pique the crowd's interest, a sudden arrival on Raw didn't happen, leaving everyone perplexed. The vignettes continued for a few more months, and when the former NXT standout finally appeared, it was enough to denounce her old gimmick and let the world know she was sticking to being Emma, and boy did this whole job, intentional or not, fire the wrestling community and leave WWE completely at the mercy of angry fans for the next weeks. Number 9, Fake Diesel and Razor Ramon. Two of the most important WWE stars in 1996 decided to jump ships and head to WCW, where they would change the landscape of wrestling forever. However, Vince thought he could get away with a big name change by having a newly healed Jim Ross announce that he was bringing back the two. The result, two imposters, Glenn Jacobs and Rick Brunia, coming down to the ring to utter scorn from the fans. It was an early instance of Vince's contempt, and while it killed the latter's chance of any success in the bigness, Jacobs did of course go on to have a legendary run. Number 8, Brodus Clay's Funk. Having first appeared on TV as Del Rio's enforcer, he was written off to film the movie. In his absence, WWE aired vignettes telling fans when he was back and Monster was returning. However, what did happen was the former NXT TV show re-debuting the Funkasaurus, the polar opposite of what was promised. The dancing, fun-loving wrestler from Planet Funk was flanked by his dancers Naomi and Cameron. As if fans were not insulted enough by this, Clay barely found any successes and overshadowed by his accompanying dancers with more popularity. Number 7, Randy Orton burning the Fiend. There was a rivalry that stretched years, but every time the payoff comes, the viewers are left disappointed. If Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt's WrestleMania 33 title bout was an exercise in what not to do for such a feud-ending fight, the Firefly Inferno match at TLC 2020 was the antithesis of promising something but not exactly delivering on it. It promised its audience something spectacular to close out the feud, and this match can only be worn off by lighting any part of the opponent on fire. What fans got, the Orton burning his opponents to a crisp. While it's cool, fans clearly saw through the fact that whatever was being burned under the Fiend's guise wasn't the former Bray Wyatt, but rather a mannequin that was way thinner than the wrestler himself. Number 6, Hornswoggle, the anonymous Raw GM. While the whole anonymous GM's angle was excruciating, fans were patient to see what the payoff could be. However, once again, they decided to troll them by giving a humorous payoff. While this mystery character is running rampant on Raw and proving a bane for faces and heels alike, speculation arrived to who it could be, including Steve Austin. However, when the time came for a reveal, it was a letdown, leaving the universe fuming. Number 5, Veer's arrival. Perhaps today's proof of Veer's utter ignorance of reality and his audience's feelings. Veer's debut vignettes have been hyping him up for months, with the company saying he'd appear on the Raw after WrestleMania. The former baseball player debut has been the subject of a lot of memes, but his mysterious absence is not showing WWE in good light, considering fans themselves are making this a joke and don't believe he would ever arrive, or if he did, not do much. Number 4, Sting and v Triple H. In 2014, after decades of dreaming, fans finally got to see Sting in the WWE ring. An excellent debut after a few memorable segments led to a match being booked between the Icon and Triple H at WrestleMania 31, and fans expected a banger and Sting's first win. And however, it turned out to be a mess of a bout. Triple H came out on top after interferences from NWO and DX. What was worse was that Vince went against fan wishes, not for the first time or the last time, and asked commentary more or less to bury the WCW Icon throughout the match. And commentators painted the story of Sting being the big league, suggesting he was out of his depth, something that he couldn't be further from the truth, of course. Number 3, the Hagyuka Debut. Another instance that shows Vince's confused relationship with his fans even back in the 90s, was Survivor Series by excitement over the debut of an egg that had been placed on the show for viewers. Fans were excited to see if this could lead to something serious or a new star. However, that didn't happen, with Hector Guerrero in a turkey costume hatching and coming out, leading fans to immediately reject it as one of the worst gimmicks ever. But hey, it could have been worse for a certain Mark Calloway, who was allegedly earmarked to take the position. Number 2, Eye for an Eye, a storyline that continues to divide fans. The Mysterio Family versus Seth Rollins and Murphy led a sour taste in many people's mouths. The feud ended at Horror Show at Extreme Rules was booked for an eye for an eye match between Roman and Rollins, where the winner would have to extract their eyes of their opponents. Ridiculous, yes, but they thought they could get away with it. Expectations low. What transpired will be a match that lives in infamy, with for Rollins who managed to gouge Ray's eye out using steel steps, though the audience was not fooled one bit. It was clearly a prop, made to look like an eye had actually been pulled out. Number 1, the McMahon apology. After months and maybe years of booking, driving fans away from their nonsensical decisions, things came to head in the winter of 2018. McMahon's walked out to the ring and accepted that the product they were putting out wasn't good enough. After revealing that they would listen to the fans from here on in, the top figures at WWE labelled the fans as the authority, and while some followers believed what was being spoken, many were wary of the company after years of being misled, and they were proved right for WWE, who returned to its old habits and is perhaps was even at a creative low prior to Vince McMahon's exit, although things have improved since Hunter came to challenge. But anyway guys, that's it video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, let your thoughts, comments down below, and follow the link in the show for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to the channel, script now, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.